Welcome to the Fantasy Football Profit Podcast, hosted by Craig Phillips and Jeff Torrey. Visit us at fantasyfootballprofit.com. And now your hosts, Craig and Jeff.
Welcome everyone to the Fantasy Football Profit Podcast. I'm Craig Phillips, joined as always by Jeff Torrey, and today we're talking Week 10 in the NFL. We're going to go through all the Sunday games here, one by one, knock it off right at the beginning, Jeff. Let's start us off. Cowboys Falcons, and this one got out of hand quickly. 43-3 is the final score for the Cowboys after they got destroyed last week by the Broncos. The NFL's weird. It just is. And this was like 36-3, I think, at halftime, I believe. If I remember, I was watching part of this. I think it was like 36-3. Yeah, 36-3 at halftime. It was like, wow, this is over quick. And Cowboys didn't have to do much in the second half because of it. Dak actually was pulled probably for the most of the fourth quarter, but in the time he did play, he was 24 for 31, 296, 2 touchdowns, solid day. Funny thing is, even though he had such a great day this time, it's barely better than last week where he scored the garbage time touchdowns and he had a terrible game all game. But that's fantasy football for you, right? But on the ground, Zeke only 14 carries for 41 yards, but 2 touchdowns and a 2-point conversion as well. So that helps. Tony Pollard, 11 for 42. Through the air, it was CeeDee Lamb catching 6 balls for 94 yards, 2 touchdowns. Tony Pollard, 6 for 56. Amari Cooper, 4 for 51. Zeke was 3 for 15, and Dalton Schultz, if you used him at tight end, was 1 for 14. But good game for CeeDee Lamb. Amari Cooper, he does this, his up and down stuff. And, funny thing is, like we've talked about this before, sometimes in these blowout games like this, the numbers are actually much lower than you expect to see on some of the players. And that was the case. Zeke got the two easy touchdowns, and CeeDee Lamb got the other 2. So it just went to a couple guys, but Cowboys look good in this one.
Yeah. And Atlanta continues the yo-yo experience of 2021. I mean, it was bad from the get-go. I don't know what to say about it. It's very difficult. I mean, Dallas is 7-2, but I cannot figure out who are the good teams and who are the bad teams right now. I feel like the last 2 weeks, especially, have been all over the board with how teams are going to play and who's going to bounce back. But anyway, Matt Ryan, if you had to stream him or something, he had a horrendous day, unfortunately. Josh
really
Rosen
bad.
got to play too.
And he was terrible in his little bit of time.
Yeah, 9 for 21, 117 yards, 2 interceptions. And Wayne Gallman actually got the most carries, 15 carries for 55 yards. Cordero Patterson, only 4 carries for 25. He followed that up with only 1 catch for 14. So Patterson not having a good day. The only other one worth even mentioning is Kyle Pitts with 4 for 60. So as far as he did get 7 targets, so just looking at what they were trying to do, but in the grand scheme of tight ends, not the worst thing, but still not very good. So it was very one-sided.
Yeah, just a ugly game. It gets out of hand quick, and they can't go to their game plan. Patterson doesn't become involved because of it. But again, this is NFL's like this week to week. You never know what's going to happen. Falcons aren't very good necessarily, but they beat the Saints last week. They looked better, and then they do this. So ugly. All right, how about Titans Saints here? Titans win 23-21. God, in this one, I felt like the refs were trying to give the Titans the win on one of these possessions. They kept calling. Well, it was just ridiculous. I think the Saints had a pick. They called roughing the passer. It was not roughing the passer, and that gave Titans the ball back. There was more penalties. It was ugly. The Titans get the win out of it. Titans are 8-2. They keep just rolling. They win tough games.
And they're finding ways to win.
Yeah.
For the most part too. I mean, now the last couple of ones without Henry, and they weren't overly impressive offensively. I thought that maybe there would be more points to get through the air, but that has not happened. Marcus Johnson was actually the top wide receiver in this game for the Tennessee Titans. Marcus Johnson, 5 for 100. And after that, I mean, Deontay Foreman had, 2 catches for 48. It went down from there. AJ Brown, only 1 catch for 16 yards.
There's not much fantasy wise here.
No, there was nothing. Even on Deontay Foreman, very, very interesting. Not only did he have those 2 catches for 48 yards, but he also got the most carries, 11 for 30 yards. Not that it was very impressive, but he was I shouldn't even say heavily, but he was used the most. Adrian Peterson right after him, 8 carries for 21.
Yep.
Jeremy McNichols did get 4 carries, but only managed to get 7 yards. So interesting what they were attempting to do, but really
Mhm.
it came down to defense and knowing that the Saints were kind of struggling on offense as well, not having Kamara and Trevor Siemian, and they've been kind of piecing it together as well for the most part. So more of a defensive struggle this game.
Yep. And then the Saints side here, Siemian was 19 of 34, 298, 2 touchdowns. Those touchdowns went to Traquan Smith and Marquez Callaway. Leading receiver was actually yardage wise. Deonte Harris was 3 for 84. Mark Ingram and Smith had the most catches Trautman had the most catches with 5. Adam Trautman had 5. Ingram and Smith had 4 catches. Ingram had 108 total yards and a touchdown in this one. Without Kamara in there, he had to play. He played decent. I wasn't saying he's anything spectacular, but he showed he has a little bit more in him than we thought than was being shown on the Texans earlier this year. But you know what? You just have to feel like sometime they're going to try to use Taysom a little more, right? I mean,
and Trevor Siemian did not play poorly.
No,
he was fine, but
it's just still not.
I don't think that is the way that they're
exactly.
They're not going to win games that way. So I do think you're going to see him play quarterback a little more. They played him for. I mean, he threw the ball at least twice. I don't know how many snaps he actually took under center, and then he got 3 rushes. And he got 1 catch. They targeted him twice. So they're trying to use him in that role. I keep wondering when they're going to give him the green light and say, we're going to go full out with Taysom and let's really give it a try. I don't know. I can only imagine it's going to happen very soon.
All right. Next up, Colts in Jacksonville. Colts win 23-17. Carson Wentz was probably a popular streaming option this week in fantasy, but he went 22 of 34 for 180 yards, no touchdowns. So he didn't do much. He just didn't get you many points. And they didn't have to because early on they took a big lead. They actually came close to almost losing the lead, but Jonathan Taylor was great in the first quarter, just dominant in the first quarter. He had about 90 yards rushing and a touchdown in the first quarter and kind of was shut down after that, but he still ended up with a good stat line, 21 carries, 116 yards and a touchdown, caught 6 balls for 10. That's a PPR nightmare for me right there. 6 catches for 10 yards. You get 6 points off those 10. Oh my God. Oh, all right. But Michael Pittman led the way, 5 catches, 71 yards, but they didn't really it wasn't a big passing day for him. So that was as big as they got, but they get the win. So, hey, Jonathan Taylor's probably at this point the best fantasy back in the league. He is over McCaffrey. Yeah. Right now, I think he would be number 1. Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence, 16 of 35 for 162. No touchdowns, no picks. On the ground, James Robinson had 12 carries for 57 yards, got himself a touchdown in that one later on in the 4th. Jamal Agnew, 3 carries, 79 yards. One was a 66-yard touchdown. And the leading receiver was Dan Arnold, 5 for 67. Kind of an ugly offense.
Yeah. Once again, one of those games that got out of hand early and then no one has to do much on offense. They're just kind of, anyway, so not a whole lot to see there again.
No, it just isn't. All right. How about Patriots Browns? Patriots win 45-7. And you know what? Bill Belichick's a pretty good coach.
Yeah. People didn't know,
last year, Brady wins the Super Bowl. Patriots didn't look that great. People were all down on him, but you know what? He gets a quarterback in there that he can use. That's, steady. And look what happens. I mean, Mack Jones is looking really good here. 19 of 23, 198 yards, 3 touchdowns. Just very solid. He's not flashy, but he's a very solid quarterback. They're 6-4, and they're just getting better and better. On the ground, though, Romandre Stevenson, preseason darling of ours, like to talk about him then. It didn't look like it was going to happen. And now Damian Harris goes out, and Stevenson gets his real opportunity here, and he gets 20 carries for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. I love to see it. Don't know what it means though for if Harris is back next week. But with the Patriots, you could see them just going right back to Harris and Stevenson not being involved. But he was involved last week a bit. I don't know how it's going to play out, but this could be actually a fantasy nightmare, to be honest, for anybody that has Harris and anybody who think, oh, maybe I found something in Stevenson. And I don't really know. I don't know how it's going to play out.
Yeah, no idea. I think this is the first time where I could see them going back to the single back. Usually, whoever has a hot hand, they're willing to use them. But I do think that this might be the first time where they go right back to Harris. But
they could.
always in the back of your head, like, okay, when's Stevenson going to get a few carries? What if he starts getting 5, 6? We don't know. And the other one was, what was Bolden going to do, right? Because he was kind of in there, and we're kind of, if this one was very interesting, because I was wondering if Bolden, because of his wide receiving skills coming out of the backfield, if he was going to be heavily targeted, but I didn't expect them to whoop on Cleveland so badly. So he didn't really get to show that much. He only got 3 carries, but turned it into 32 yards, and he got 3 targets, which he caught all 3, and turned that into 38 as well. I'm still not completely writing off him having a useful role in this offense, but it's very difficult to figure out what they're going to do. Speaking of Mack Jones, he has looked pretty good for a rookie, and for, being 6-4 now. I do wonder if it would help to get a little more help, like in the wide receiving range. I know he's really taken to Hunter Henry. That guy, all he does is catch touchdowns.
2 more. I love it.
But Jacoby Myers and Kendrick Bourne, at least they both produced today.
Jacoby Myers got his first touchdown in the pros today. First touchdown in the NFL.
Was that really in the NFL?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't even know that.
Yeah. Big celebration after he scored. Like the whole team came out there. Pretty cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
But man, maybe this is, kind of something to see coming. But I don't really know. I think that they're going to be going back and forth, and they'll rely on that defense heavily. But whoever is the primary back there is going to be useful.
Yeah, they will.
Stevenson looked really good today, though. So even though I could see them going back to Harris because he's the safety blanket, exactly what we're going to get out of him. Stevenson definitely can carve out a role, and we all know that Belichick will use him if he can do all the things right.
Yep. For Cleveland, Baker left this one with a knee injury, but he should be fine for next week. But it's against the Lions. That was looking like a great streaming option at one point. I don't know how you feel now, but Baker was 11 for 21 for 73 yards, a touchdown and a pick. Case Keenum came in and played after him, didn't really do much. Dearness Johnson did look pretty solid, and he had most of his yards early though. Again, too, he had a good first quarter, I think it was, and kind of they got way down and they couldn't really. It wasn't great after that, but 19 carries, 99 yards. He looked good. He looks good when he gets opportunities. He really does.
He was one of those guys that you were wondering if the Titans would go after him, like a young and upcoming kind of guy.
Well, I should say also 7 catches for 58 yards, right? So just a really good game. When he gets opportunities, good, but then he doesn't seem to get any opportunities when Chubb's back. So that's it. I mean, Dearness Johnson was the only offense today. Without him, there's just nothing there. All right. How about Bills, Jets? Went about as expected. This is how the Bills should treat these teams, not like they did against Jacksonville last week. They had a little bit of a wake-up call, I feel like, and like, all right, we got to figure that we got to do something right this time. 45-17 win. Josh Allen, 21-28, 366, 2 touchdowns. He did throw a pick, but overall solid game. Those touchdowns went to Diggs and went to Matt Breida. But Diggs, there's the Diggs we know and love, right? 8 catches, 162 yards, touchdown off 13 targets. Big day for him. Gabe Davis, 3 for 105. Sanders, 2 for 27. Like I said, Matt Breida, 3 for 22. Dawson Knox comes back and only goes 1 for 17 in this one. On the ground, it was Singletary, 7 for 43 and a touchdown. Matt Breida, 3 for 28 and a touchdown. Zach Moss, 7 for 27 and a touchdown. McKenzie scored a touchdown too on the ground. You're not playing anybody in this ground game. You might have played, if you played Moss, you get a touchdown, great, but that's about all you don't want. You don't want to play anybody. They're going to use a lot of these guys. But great to see Diggs playing like that. That's what we've been waiting to see all year. It really hasn't happened.
And that's why it's so hard to move away from him or trade him or do anything like that, because he's so dangerous. When you look at the stat line, you're like, God, he can do that every single week if you want to.
Yep.
And on the other side of it, Mike White, welcome to the NFL finally.
There goes the Mike White is better than Zach Wilson talk. I mean,
yeah. Brutal day for him.
He plays, 24, 44, 251, 4 picks. Garbage time here. Michael Carter gets a touchdown late. He has only 16 carries for 39 yards. He did go 4 for 43. So he had 82 total yards. So he gets himself a touchdown in garbage time, which if you played him, you actually had a good outing. And Elijah Moore also caught a very, very garbage time touchdown. I think it was like 2 minutes left, if that, from Joe Flacco. 3 for 44 and a touchdown for Moore. So he really, it ends up being double-digit points, but it was extremely late before he actually got on the board. So that's not a great sign, but we'll see, how it goes next time. All right, how about Lions Steelers? What about this thing here? 16-16 tie. Lions had a chance to win it in overtime with a field goal that looked like a high school kicker kicked it to me. I mean, who is Santoso? I'm a Lions fan. I don't know this guy. I had no idea who he was.
Well, he sounds like a Lion.
Oh, man. Good old Lions, man. I love it. Hey, we can't go 0-17 if you tie.
I was going to say, does that count?
They're not. They're not.
You didn't like. It's not. Technically, you went winless. Like if
they can still go winless. They can still go winless. But yeah. But
God, I was like, just get the one win and then move on. That'd be great.
Yep. Oh well. Jared Goff's bad. He was 14-25, 114 touchdown or 114, no touchdowns, no picks. He's just they don't trust him at all. At all. Like not even slightly do they trust him.
No. And I know it was raining, but come on, man. A few more. That would have been great. Someone you can get excited about, Deandre Swift, really showed out today. It was pretty nasty weather, but he got 33 carries, way more than he usually does. Turned it into 130 yards. A lot of it was getting snuffed. You know, he was finding room when he could. But he was the only impressive one. He turned 3 catches into 5 yards, but you know, Amon St. Brown, 4 catches for 61, and then there was nothing else. So there was no passing game whatsoever. Pretty much on either side. I mean, Pittsburgh did a little bit better.
I mean, Rudolph threw the ball 50 times.
I don't know how that's possible. When you look at times and you only get 242 yards.
Yeah.
But
Najee ran the ball a lot, 26 carries, 105 yards. He caught 4 for 28, 133 total yards for Najee Harris.
You just love, like, give me over 20 carries.
Yeah.
You'll be fine.
That's what I say. We talked about him last week. He's solid, right? That's what he is. Touchdown would have been nice. He got a touchdown called back on a holding call, which was a little disappointing, but hey, good all around day. Deontay Johnson was 7 for 83. Ray McLeod, 9 for 63. Freiermuth, 5 for 31, and fumbled the game away to tie it there at the end. So yeah, that was a fun, ugly game. Ugh. Yeah. Luckily, I watch Red Zone now. All right. How about Bucks Washington? Here we go. This was a surprise. Washington wins 29-19. Again, this is what happens in the NFL these days. Washington he didn't expect them to get this win, but Heineke goes 26-32, 256, a touchdown. Antonio Gibson, a lot of volume, not many yards, but 2 touchdowns. 24 carries, 64 yards. He had 2 catches for 14, but 2 touchdowns. And, you know, if he's in your lineup, he's not. There's a lot of lineups he is not in currently. You know, people are starting to not play him as much, but that got a solid day there. Terry McLaurin, 6 for 59. DeAndre Carter got himself a touchdown, 3 for 56, but they get the win. So solid there. Bucks, just not a good day for them. Brady, 23 of 34, 220, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. One of the touchdowns went to Mike Evans. I think it was a 40-yarder. And Cameron Brate caught one on his 1 for 6. Godwin played 7 for 57. Leonard Fournette was 11 for 47 on the ground and 8 for 45 catching the ball. But I think the Bucs just put this one behind them and don't think about it again.
Yeah, it's always nice actually with Tampa Bay, someone like Tom Brady. I always feel like they really do take a loss personally. This will not throw them into a tailspin. I think that next game coming up will be a huge bounce back. It just seems to happen for a really good quarterback. So right. I'm looking forward to that.
How about Panthers Cardinals? This was a surprise. Panthers win 34-10. I mean, Cardinals didn't have Kyler, didn't have Hopkins. There's other injuries too, but still no Chase Edmonds, obviously. So there's a lot of injuries there, but still you don't expect a 34-10 win from Carolina, who's now 5-5. Even they started the year good, 3-0, right? Sucked for a while. Now they're 5-5, actually, still in a shot here.
Yeah. And now they have Cam Newton.
They
back
do.
And
you would expect to see
a little bit.
You'd expect to see Cam probably next week. I have a pretty good feeling he could. Or their next game, he's going to be their quarterback. You would think.
Yeah.
In this one, he got a little bit of run.
Yeah, and I joked about what this meant for Robbie Anderson, and immediately he only throws 4 passes,
right away.
And one of them's a touchdown to Robbie Anderson.
Right.
So I don't know if that's real or not, but it definitely opens the door to say, because he was terrible all year, just absolutely awful. And I realize why, everything you can blame Darnold all you want, but he was awful as well. Now you can actually go and try to pick him up and see if you can salvage his year. He's going to desperately want to. And Cam Newton is obviously going to be a better guy throwing the ball than Darnold was.
Cam gets you 2 touchdowns and there's a little bit of time today. Kind of nice. I love to see it there. McCaffrey, 161 total yards. Just he does his McCaffrey things. No touchdowns again. That's the only thing I guess we got to look at. Will Cam steal any goal line touchdowns from McCaffrey? That'll be the interesting thing.
No, I don't. I mean, maybe a little bit, but I don't think that will be a main point. If you're really like a QB sneak on the one, sure. But everything else, I don't think that they're going to be trotting Cam, Cam out there to break his legs again.
In this one, so Cam gets one. I think Hubbard caught one or ran one, and yeah, he ran one in too. So yeah, there's 2 that usually go to McCaffrey, not today. But Arizona, there's really not much to take away from this thing. Cole McCoy who cares about him for fantasy? He got hurt. James Conner gets a late touchdown, which is good for you if you played him. So he ends up with 64 total yards and a touchdown. So it makes that a solid day. Christian Kirk 7 for 58. Just not a good game. Again, they're going to put this one behind him, not think about it again.
Yeah, they're just waiting for everyone to get healthy.
Yep. All right, Vikings Chargers. Vikings win 27-20. Kirk Cousins he was decent. He was on the good Kirk Cousins today. 25, 37, 294, 2 touchdowns. Those touchdowns both went to Tyler Conklin on the day there. Not much else, but hey, Tyler Conklin gets some touchdowns. He won a DraftKings pool that I was in for freaking John won. Go. John won, Jeff. John won because of Tyler Conklin. I finished second. Tyler Conklin. But all right, Dalvin Cook, 24 carries, 94 yards, and a touchdown. Caught 3 for 24. Justin Jefferson, 9 for 143. Thielen, 5 for 65. So, this is the good Minnesota team you like to see. Everyone kind of gets involved. Thielen, doesn't get a touchdown. That's what he would need. He usually have a bigger day, but just, they can play well at times like this. The Chargers side of things, Justin Herbert, 20 of 34, 195, a touchdown and a pick. So Herbert's actually played fantasy-wise poorly in 3 of his last 4 games. So
he's been very up and down.
Last week he was great, 35 total points. The week before that was 17. The week before that was 13. And then today was 14. So he's had 3 out of 4 days bad. On the year, he's played 9 games. Out of 9 games, he's had 5 games under 18 points.
Yeah, he's been very up and down. And that's why I don't trust on really throwing him out there.
You're going to, if he's your quarterback, you're going to. But if you have another one.
I don't know if I would. I mean,
it depends on who else you have.
There's a lot of other options that you could play over Herbert. The problem is not all of them offer this, the ceiling that he does. Like it is sky high. Like he could go off for 50 points, but you can get these where it's sub 20 on standard.
Here's his schedule coming up. Plays Pittsburgh, plays at Denver, plays at Cincy. Those aren't ones where you're not going to probably play him, but you don't necessarily you can see him not maybe doing well. It's not a sure thing. But then he goes to the Giants in week 14. You like that one. But I don't know. The next 3 weeks, like at Denver in 2 weeks, even that doesn't sound great. Just doesn't, against Pittsburgh next week. I don't love it. We'll see how he does. But yeah, he's definitely been struggling a little bit. Eckler had 11 carries for 44 yards, 3 catches for 15, and one of them was for a touchdown. So he got a good day because of that. Keenan Allen, 8 for 98. Mike Williams, 4 for 33. This is the old Mike Williams, not the new and improved Mike Williams we thought we had. That one was just a mirage. That one wasn't real.
Yeah, and with Herbert, him going up and down, that is the one person that is really decimated.
I don't understand. I don't get it. We saw in those games, the guy's legitimately a good player. That wasn't fake. It's not fake, right? Like it can't be. He's good. He's good.
You do wonder if they change up their coverages and that was enough to throw him off. But that guy he's very fast. He's very tall. And Herbert has shown to be a good quarterback as well. I mean, last year and in games this year, I don't understand how you don't take deep shots to him. And I know they do, but it just feels like, I don't know, that something feels off. I don't know what exactly it is, but there should not struggle to get that big of a wide receiver more catches during the game.
Yep. All right. Next up, what do we got? Eagles, Broncos. Broncos won big last week against the Cowboys and then do this where they don't really do anything here. Eagles, Jalen Hurts was 16 of 23, 178, 2 touchdowns and a pick. He ran the ball 14 times for 53 yards. On the ground for Philadelphia, it was just a split between Howard and Scott, and they were just, 12 carries for 83 for Howard, 11 carries for 81 for Boston Scott. It's crazy that Miles Sanders couldn't do anything here when you see what these guys have been doing.
I know.
We'll see what happens.
Everyone's getting carries now.
Yep. Devonta Smith, 4 catches, 66 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So that was a good one. Dallas Goedert, 2 for 28, left this thing with a concussion, I believe, and didn't come back. So, but yeah, the ground game keeps looking good for the Eagles. They're 4-6 on the year, but everyone seems to be still in it, and about the same record. For the Broncos, Teddy Bridgewater, 22 of 36, 226, no touchdowns, no picks. Javonte Williams, 8 carries, 48. Gordon, 9 for 45 and a touchdown. That split just continues as well. So that's not going away. And leading receiver on the day was Albert O. Never going to try to pronounce his name.
I was going to say, I was waiting for it.
Albert O.
We'll just call him Albert. We apologize.
Albert O. 3 for 77. Fant was 5 for 59. Jerry Jeudy, 6 for 48. Sutton, 2 for 29. Patrick, 3 for 14. So not much there. All right. Final game of the day for us to talk about. I don't know what happened here either. Packers win 17-0 over the Seahawks. Seahawks fall to 3-6, which is terrible. And this is with Russell Wilson back. So for the Packers, Aaron Rodgers, 22 of 37, 292, no touchdowns and a pick. So it wasn't really much fantasy wise here for Aaron Rodgers. On the ground, AJ Dillon, 21 carries, 66 yards, 2 touchdowns. Aaron Jones was 7 for 25 before he left, which was early reports were sprained MCL. So we'll see what that means. It looks like it's going to be AJ Dillon's backfield for a bit. So
this could be a big blow to all of Aaron Jones owners. If you did not have his handcuff, this could be a real problem.
Yeah, definitely could be. Devante Adams, 7 for 78 through the air, and AJ Dillon 2 for 62. So AJ Dillon had 128 total yards and 2 touchdowns. Good day for him. Probably wasn't used very many places, but he will be next week. For the Seahawks, Russell Wilson comes back, goes 20 of 40, 161, 2 picks. Ugh, not good. Alex Collins, 10 for 41 on the ground. Gerald Everett led the way, 8 for 63. DK Metcalf had 3 for 26, and Tyler Lockett 2 for 23. Not good. Not good for the Seahawks today.
No, it was bad. First game back for Russell, and Green Bay is a very good team. Their defense is really legit. They can really hold people as long as their offense can do a little bit. It goes a long way. Very surprised Aaron Rodgers wasn't. I mean, I guess he wasn't. I thought he was going to be a little bit better coming off of the rest, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
But yeah, very, very strange. Yeah, very strange. Green Bay gets the win. I guess that's all they care about. But I don't know. Moving forward, anyone on this, because I feel like there's a lot of different people on this list that people are going to be looking to. Devante Adams, obviously not quite the numbers people were hoping for. Even the past few weeks. How do you view him going into the playoffs? And then we'll get to the wide receivers of Seattle, as I think people are going to be wondering about what to do with them as well.
You know, the interesting thing about the Packers is they've all of a sudden feels like they become this defensive team who aren't just airing it out anymore, right? A little more on the ground. Where Devonte Adams is still what? I don't know. He's still probably going to be ranked as like the top receiver, if not top 3, but it's not as clear cut, sure thing it right now. Just the way they've been playing. They're playing great. What they're doing is working, but it's just, they're just not throwing the ball all around right now, which is fine. I'm not too worried about it though. You're going to get some real big gains from Devante Adams for sure. It's just interesting the way this defense has come around here, and you know, they're just playing well. So what is Adams? I'm just going to pull up his numbers here quick, because I know he's not really been getting touchdowns recently. The last couple of games, right? Last 2 games, no touchdowns. Even before that, so he hasn't had a 100-yard game since week 5 where he went off for 11 for 206. That's 4 games where he's 89, 76, 42, 78. Yeah, it's a little bit of a stretch I don't love, but the targets are there, right? 14 targets last week, 11 this week. Yeah, no worries. Plays Minnesota, plays the Rams, bye week. But then he goes Chicago, week 14, Baltimore, Cleveland. That's not the easiest schedule in the world. I don't know. It's schedule kind of scared me in a way. It's not the easiest in the world. It doesn't necessarily scare me, but yeah, he's going to be fine. It's Devante Adams. Yeah. You know, this is the worst you're going to get, right? 7 for 78.
Yeah, it's hard to go away from him. Speaking of people you go away from, though, how do you actually feel like, I know it's Russell's first game back from the finger injury.
Yeah.
So you're wondering how it's going to affect his throw. I mean, he didn't play great, so I think that it did affect him a little bit.
Oh, it had to. It really had to. That's where he's not going to come out and say it affected him, but it affected him. But I'll say this. The last full game he played, he was only 16 to 23 and 149 yards. So in the week 3, he only had 18.6 fantasy points. So maybe it's not such a sure thing, but Arizona next week, they gave up 30 to the Panthers. Not too worried. Washington, I guess they just beat the Bucs and shut them down 19 points. It seems like an easy matchup, but maybe not. San Francisco, Houston, not. They should be fine. Again, I think that finger is really playing a big factor here. I would say, he's going to be fine when he gets healthy, but if you're playing, it's not as easy to get healthy, right?
Right. And well, here's the thing too. He's playing, and maybe, I guess, where does he rank? Like, how much does he fall down where you can slot someone in healthy and over him? And then what does that do to DK and Lockett? Because if you don't think that he's going to have 200 yards passing, you don't feel really good about the amount of points they can put up.
He's probably 10 to 15 range right now at quarterback. That's I think I ranked him 10th this week, and he'll probably be lower than that next week, probably 10 to 15. Yeah, it's a little bit of a worry for Metcalf and Lockett. They need touchdowns to survive right now, because you can imagine a scenario where if Chris Carson's back next week, they're really going to rely on Chris Carson and try to go that route. So he didn't play this week. We thought maybe he'd be active. He wasn't. Alex Collins just can't get the job done, but I can see them definitely relying on the run game a little more than, putting a little bit. The ceiling might not be as high for these pass catchers anymore. Just for a bit here. That finger has to be an issue. You can see it has the splint on it. Like it's on his throwing hand. How can it not be an issue? It's an issue for sure. So, all right. That's going to do it. There's one more. There's a game going on right now. Chiefs, Raiders. Chiefs seem like they're getting right a little bit. Just entering the fourth quarter in this one. 27-14 lead for the Chiefs. Mahomes has over 300 yards already. Start of the fourth. I like to see it. Let's say Mahomes numbers here quick. 31 to 46, 308, and 3 touchdowns. That's Patrick Mahomes for you right there. Tyreek Hill, 7 for 83, 2 touchdowns. Kelsey, 7 for 89. They'll love it. There we go. That's the Chiefs, right?
Yeah.
That's what I love to see. So
that's what you want to see for sure. You're wondering, it'll be interesting to see what the Raiders do in the fourth quarter in order to try to throw them off their game. But if they haven't tried to, blitz the crap out of them yet, I highly doubt that they're going to be able to get to them. So I think it's going the wrong way for them.
Yep. No, but I'd love to see that from the Chiefs. But all right, that'll do it. We'll be back with waiver wire for you tomorrow. Talk to you guys then.